At that time, my daughter, at that time, my daughter was just 2 years, and now she's 7. So things have changed. The needs have changed. So now we get to hear a lot more questions, a lot more curiosity, and after a point of time, you feel that not everything can you handle. And of course, science is such a subject which kind of scares you. So science and math are two subjects which have never been, my best friends or anything. So at that point of time, I kind of knock at Sharad's door कि knock knock कुछ करना है, अब समझ नहीं आ रहा है कि कैसे चले और क्या करें. So that is how the journey started. We approached so Sharad, who's just simply an IIT and an IIM and no fancy backgrounds. So has always been there as a youth support with the tribe community. And when we saw our kids doing a lot more experiments or inclined towards experiments, we wanted to, understand कि क्या हो सकता है और कैसे हो सकता है. Should we take them to a lab? Since homeschooling, you don't really have everything at home. You're not associated with a school where, you can do things. And as a layperson, आपको यही लगता है कि science is all about experiments, all about चमत्कार और कुछ होगा, and then there'll be like eureka moment. But when we kind of started, conversing and, or socha samjha, from Sharad's point of view, we thought let's kind of build a community which is for the parents. So I've been receiving queries like what age group and, what is the limit, etc. So the age group is even if you're 30, even if you're 40 or 50 or 20 as a parent, anybody is welcome, rather than, a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old. Because I think Sharad believes in creating a community of parents. And as unschoolers, we've also believed that it's an unlearning journey from our conditioning minds and then taking it forward. So I think I'll hand it over to Sharad from here. And then he can probably, give us a brief. And I think, Sharad, is it okay agar parents बीच में questions पूछ ले आपसे, or,
No, that is how I would want actually. I don't come with a presentation. I don't like presentations. I think unlearning journeys cannot have defined paths by default. So I think the more you interrupt me and the more you ask, the more I will, probably be able to draw in from some example, or probably I'll say, I don't know I don't have an answer to this question actually. So yes, please budge in, because otherwise after some time I'll start losing interest of talking. Yeah, I understand some of you, I don't know, bandwidth may not permit or it may not be convenient. So you'll not be able to switch on your, videos, but wherever it's convenient, talk to me as a person, and then it's that much I can, probably, it's more like a human connect that happens then.
Yeah.
So please budge in, please ask, and that's how I think that will be a good discussion.
I think अगर cameras on रख ले तो एक अच्छा feeling आएगा, एक group community का feeling आएगा, जिसके लिए possible है. And I hope everybody is comfortable with English and Hindi as languages. And rest, I think I'll request Sharad to kind of kickstart in the sense that how did you get into this and why this approach to science and not the regular approach where we say, okay, let's take the kid or get us experiment kit at home and get done with it. So my daughter is 7 years old. So, yeah.
Yeah, before I start, I think, irrespective whether you switched on your camera or not, but just let me quickly know how old is your child and what do you do? So if I know something about your background and how old is your child, if you want to share what kind of questions you're facing, please feel free to do it. But yeah, just let me know something so that it will be easier to, when I'm talking, I'll try to keep that in mind at least. Anyone can go first. I have 2 kids, a daughter who is 16 years old and a son who is 10 years old. Yeah, so that's about me. And
I think Sharad is going to be me who's going to start the first, because I think I'm the only one available cameras. A very good evening, Ashita, right? Ashita and Sharad. It's a pleasure meeting both of you. So my name is Shalini Malhotra, and my daughter is 7 years again. She's going to turn 8 by June. So around June end. And we have also been homeschooling Ziana ever since. But she's a single child. And also she was very keen to see what school system is like, what is like going to a school. And then we were in Delhi and we did put her in DPS International, which was Cambridge board. But within a month, we withdrew her. I actually knew within a week that it's not working out. So no matter whatever board they say, but if they don't know how to deliver the education in the right manner, it doesn't make sense. So within a month, we served the notice, and by the next month, we withdrew the admission. And then we moved to Gurgaon. It just so happened that from Delhi, we were supposed to shift, and we shifted. We still continued with the homeschooling. And she was still keen to get into a school. So I was actually looking for an alternate education system. So we did see Mirambika, and there is one in Prakriti in Noida, close by to Delhi. But we couldn't make it because we shifted to Gurgaon. So she's going to a regular school right now in Gurgaon itself. But I'm not very happy again with it. But it's okay. I think the child should have an exposure, and our thing should not be posed onto the children saying, no, this is what is right. Let them explore themselves. Let them understand why I'm saying, an alternate education system. Or actually, I was a strong believer of a Gurukula system. So we did visit a lot of Gurukuls. We did see a lot of Gurukuls in South India. Then we went to Gujarat also. But we just couldn't settle somewhere because most of them, I just had to leave my child, which I never wanted. And we did find one in Gujarat. And that was the one wherein the girl child goes and comes back. But the problem was that they had a Matrabhasha as Gujarati. And I'm happy the education, I believe it should be in Matrabhasha. And that's how the child learns the best. But the curriculum wasn't really, the teachers weren't stationed all the time. So there was also a drawback somewhere. We couldn't continue with the Gurukula system. And then we thought, okay, let's Ziana explore the schools till we think what is to be done best for her in future. And rather not only for Ziana is what I feel this. I think the entire community, I think the society needs a huge change right now. And I didn't know anything about you, Sharad. And when Ashita posted, and then that's where I Googled about you. So I read a little intro which said that, you narrate stories, and that's how I guess you engage children into science. I think that's a fabulous thing of the examples that you had quoted. So I'm really keen to understand how this science explores and what happens and how it's like such a huge and a different take on science. So I'm really, really excited for it. And thank you so much, Ashita. Thanks, Sharad, for taking this initiative of, bringing up an orientation for the same.
Thank you. Thank you, Shalini. Okay. So you said you're 7 years old, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, my daughter, right?
Yeah. Okay. And Ruchita, she is 5 and 10. Quickly, others, if you can also share about your children. Whether you want to write it out or if you can switch on with whatever works with you.
Hi, this is Dipti here. Sorry, could not switch on the camera. I'm somewhere. Yeah. So my daughter is 6 years old, and till 5.5 years, I was unschooling her. I was with the tribe Ashita and the group.
Okay.
So basically, later on, she wanted to explore school. So for 1 year, for 1 year, I enrolled her into a Montessori schooling. And then now she's going into a normal ICSE school, and she's pretty happy about it. And also, I know I have attended your one 2-day seminar about the question thing around 2 years back.
Okay.
So yeah, so I follow it. In fact, 2 days back only, I had he was asking me some question, and I was like, we will think about it. You also think, and next day morning we'll see. He was asking me some question, and I remembered you, and that happens so many times. You are always there. I remember you so many times when she's asking me questions, and I don't want to answer or just give her a easy cake pick answer. And now so they know also Google mein answer milta hai. I'm like, no, we'll not search in Google or anything. We can ask many people, we can explore things, and then all of a sudden she only comes with an answer. And I'm so glad that I attended that 2-day seminar for the full day. We had morning or afternoon, around 3-4 hours sessions it was. And yes, so I know something is too good about you. That is why I came here for a intro of this science thing. What it is, how it will help my daughter. Because yes, nowadays the kids are they have so many questions. They are asking every time, each and every time, okay, mama, what is this? What is this? How does it work? So yes, I am here for that.
Great. Thanks
And
for your kind
want
words.
to learn, yeah, as Ashita told, there is no age, like at 30 you can learn, at 40 you can learn. So yes, for me, I'm coming instead of my daughter.
Good. Good. Others, if you can also quickly pitch in with your race. So I know we have 5, we have 10, we have 7, we have 6. Okay. What are the other about others? Anyone, I mean, I don't want to do a roll call. If you're comfortable, go ahead and
Hi, I'm Ruchita. I have two kids, aged 5 years and 10 years, and I'm going to start homeschooling now. So basically, I've joined to understand what you are going to teach so that whether it will help my kids or how I can teach them science that ways. So that is the reason I have joined you.
Okay. Good. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Janisha is 8 and 4. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ankit. I work as an educator with an alternative space near Jaipur.
Okay.
Yeah. So I run a maker space here.
Okay. In Jaipur, you have a maker space, you said.
No, I mean the name of the space is Dhun. I mean,
Dhun. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. I think I've heard the name Dhun.
yeah. It's a big it's a project, and part of that project is learning space.
What's the name of the lady who leads Dhun?
So basically, the name of the couple is Manvendra and Jatan.
Okay. And maybe I'm mixing up, but I know Dhun. Okay. No worries. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. No worries. So we have parents with children 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay, 9. So 4 to 10. Okay.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Janisha here.
Hi,
So
Janisha.
I have two kids. One is a 8 years boy and a 4 year daughter. So the son is like he's more of interested over space thing and more of the question answers I do not know. So he comes up with lots of many questions. So like from him I sometimes learn, and so that's the way. And they both are into school. They go to school. The son was like in Montessori for 4 years up till like from 6 years, from basically 2-3 years he's into normal school.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Janisha. Okay. Anyone else wants to add anything? I mean, share anything? Okay. No worries, Amit. Maybe you can just type out if you have kids and how old they are or anything else you want to share. Okay. So quickly, like I said, I have 2 kids, 16 and 10, and I do teach science now. Okay, 12 and 7. Okay. Let's see how long this journey lasts. But this was not a plan that I had in mind to someday start teaching science. I do love science. There are no two ways about it, because I'm always happy to have any kind of discussion on science, and I can't read any book. I mean, if you have to ever give me a book, please give me a science book. Otherwise, it will be lying there in somewhere, or someone else will read it, or it will be given off to someone. So I can't read fiction. I can't read science, anything non-science. Even if I read fiction, it has to go in the genre of science somewhere. So that's what I am. I mean, it always been like that. I mean, I was always working 15 years of corporate life, never was thinking of becoming a teacher one day, but like a lot of is shared, most of us actually hit that rough patch when our kids actually start going to school. All along, we only hear stories from other parents, and we sort of, we are not bothered that way. I would say it's not impacting me directly. And life has a way that we also, sorry. So life also has a way that though we started like this in our jobs, but soon enough we figure the ropes and we forget our learning journeys that we happen. So I was also, very much at some point, maybe I joined, I would have been slightly disturbed about what's happening and then slowly get used to it and, sorry, went on. So 15 years and, but things were happening around me, my journey that way was slightly checkered in the sense that I changed companies, not too frequently, but not with the objective of growing my career. I was only changing companies because everywhere I was going, they were pushing me to leave India and go and settle outside. And I was like, for some vague reason, right from my college days, I was very clear, whatever it is, I will not leave this country. That's all. And I had no specific reason for it. I cannot say I am very patriotic. I cannot say I was trying to change this country. I don't know. I mean, it were probably more emotional reasons. I said I will not leave this country. So I had left a couple of jobs just because I had to move out of this country. And because I had to leave, I had to take whatever came my way, which also meant was that I ended up doing all, a lot of different jobs. I was coding at one point in time, then I was selling at one point in time, I was raising money at one point in time, I was deploying money, I was doing quality at one point in time, I was, doing stock markets at another point in time. So in that 15 years, I probably would have touched 5 to 6 different careers. In fact, today I attended a session where I was told that, I read a part of it earlier because there is this report which was written by, you guys may have heard the name of these two big consulting firms called McKinsey and E&Y, Ernst and Young. So they have said that, and a few years back they released a report saying this by 2025, we will enter a world where children who are entering the job around that time will probably over the next 25 odd years or 30 years they'll be working. They'll be actually changing 4 to 5 careers. And then apparently a recent report which was done by, I'm just forgetting the name, and I was just sitting in that in that seminar and I was listening. So said ki, now the times have moved actually much faster. I mean, another few years, children are entering the job will actually be doing 2 careers simultaneously. So you may be actually working in the morning, in the night, you may be dancing somewhere, or you may be, something, but you may be pursuing 2 careers. Like people, you may have heard this term, which is, debated quite a bit, especially on LinkedIn, I see is moonlighting, where people are, doing a couple of jobs simultaneously. Some company, Narayan Murthy, apparently came out and made a very strong case against him. People actually jumped on him and say, you are too old to make comments on these. Because times have changed, generations have changed, people look at things very differently. So I think, I was seeing small bits and pieces of these things early on in my career, where because I was changing jobs, I was also doing lots of things and I could see how fast things were changing. I was also coincidentally interviewing a lot of people as a part of my job. And I used to be very upset with the quality of people I was meeting. And these are not the people who are coming from some low grade colleges or coming from home environments where the education has been compromised in some way. So it's an important thing that I realized is that education probably is not a function of which college you go to. And education probably is not a function of, which family you come from. Yes, it has an impact, but your quality of learning is not impacted by them. Maybe your degrees are impacted by, which colleges you go to or what family you come from and how much wealth the family has. Yes. So, those things were actually shaping up in my mind and I was seeing it slowly and slowly. And then as I was getting some sort of a disappointment, all the more because, like I said, is I love science. And it's a big talk, but as a child, all of us dream a lot of things. I at one point wanted to become a cricketer and then a pilot and then a doctor, and things keep changing a new fashion every day. But there was one dream that I had as a very young child, and that always remained somewhere on the periphery around me. And it was probably too audacious a dream, so it always remained on the periphery. And that was a dream to win a Nobel Prize someday. And I never thought I can do it. Now I dream probably more actively about it, but though I know it's quite out of my reach. But So our meeting may end because we don't have a paid session, but we'll rejoin on the same link the ones who get logged off. So it's a dream that remains. And as a country, if you talk about it, we have only produced one Nobel laureate in the last. First Nobel prizes were given almost 123 years back, and we have only produced one Nobel laureate who lived in this country, did a research in this country, and got a Nobel Prize. I'm not particularly talking only about Nobel Prize, but I'm saying is in some way it reflects the scientific journey of this country. And if you want to be more particular about it, just look in your house and look around you, and please find out that one product that this country makes. So, there is only this much we do for the world. And then in my job, I had lots of examples where I could see how innovation does not work in this country, how new things does not work in this country. So I'm not trying to criticize the country. What I'm trying to say is somewhere the systems that we had were very different for a different purpose. And it is an expected thing to happen in a country which is developing. There's nothing wrong about it. This is how even US went through it. So, that used to also, make me upset in some way. Will we ever see someone in this country who will develop something, path breaking out of this country, living in this? All put together, it was a khichdi getting developed in my mind when my daughter started schooling, and, the thing hit me in full force. I started realizing that we are like this because this is how we teach. When I saw her getting educated, she was scoring marks, by the way. She was not failing and she was not coming first. She may be in the software, top 25% and all those, which was, for me, I never cared about marks and all that. So I never bothered about these things. But I could see how flimsy the quality of learning is. And with that quality, forget about Nobel Prize. We don't even hope to become a developed country soon enough. And now this is what all the reports are talking about it, because the foundations are very weak. At some point, you can only do this much. If the forest does not have trees, you can plant trees. It's a low hanging fruit. You can do easily. And you can grow by just planting trees. But once the forest is planted, then someone needs to understand ecosystems. And that's where someday you become a developed country. So today we are a poor country, build as many roads, as many ports, and that itself is good enough to grow. But someday, very soon enough, this cycle will end. You cannot keep building roads. Another 20 years, the roads may be over. Then what next? That's the question. And that's the generation, which is the coming generation will start staring at very soon enough. It's already happening. Jobs are going out of flavor. Already there are enough predictions around it. But the point is, that's what brought me into the world of education. That's what made me, start exploring it. And then one encounter led me to another encounter where I ended up getting 5 brilliant children, very average in academics, going to all kinds of colleges. One went to international, one went to, an alternate schooling, one went to a typical conventional school, and, all my children. And luckily for me, I engaged with them in a setup where there was no expectation. The parents were very clear that their tuitions are taken care of. You just spend time with them so that you give them some outlet for their thoughts. That's all. So I was very happy to do it because it was a simple pocket money for me. I didn't have any great thoughts of education at that point in time. But that 1.5 years actually with those 5 children, 1-to-1 session that happened for almost, I did around 100 sessions between these children now. Because what was 1.5 years? And it used to be only one session with one child once a week. That turned my life upside down. I mean, that really for the first time probably, exposed me to what education could mean. I'm not saying what I've learned in that first 1.5 years and then seen many evidences in the last 6-7 years is good enough. I know there are missing pieces of the picture that I have to still discover. But I know, at least I know one thing for sure that, it sounds good to hear when Ashita said that I have done IIT and IIM. It sounds good to hear, but I'm not very proud of them right now. Because yes, they are degrees, they get you jobs, but they don't get you learning. That's a different ball game altogether. So what we focus on this session actually is more about what's learning, what's science at its core, what I have learned in the last 5-6 years. And like I said, is please keep asking questions because, I can speak monologue for long enough if there are enough questions coming in. Okay. Otherwise, it will be a lost track. The more questions you ask, the more examples I'll remember from my own experience kind of thing. So that's what I am. Take everything that I say with a pinch of salt.
Sukita, may I please request you to mute your microphone? Thank you.
So whatever I say, take it with a pinch of salt. I have not read books to derive this. This is just an experience that happened with me, which has changed me, and I have come to believe in it. So that's what I'm sharing. Take it with a pinch of salt, do your own work and do it, because eventually every child is different. And every child needs a different kind of in some kind of a setup. So very important to remember, I think these three principles is that, parenting is a very new age word. It came into existence probably in the 60s only. It's a word that sounds an active involvement of an adult to actually help a child to grow. That's not what it should be. That's not what it is. And a good parenting is actually what they call as do nothing parenting. Take a step back and learn from the child. Right? It's a very difficult thing because we have learned certain ways. So it's very difficult to see children that way. It's also thing is that children don't speak the language that we speak. Right? And I'll give you examples as we discuss some examples of why they say very different things and you don't make sense of it. But something, these are very powerful things. So, it's very important. Remember, parenting is not an active involvement. It's some sort of a passive role kind of thing. The second, we need to understand when it comes to science, science is not a body of knowledge. Science is a process. And that process can be applied to actually just the way you live your life also. Because science in its core is nothing but problem solving. And in its core, if you look at life, you are actually facing, every day you're facing some situation. It's just a situation. But that situation can be classified as a problem by you and someone else may not even bother about it. Right? So when you classify it as a problem, it's a problem that your mind now wants to attack. Right? Then you follow a process. The reason science comes so close to problem solving is because science follows it unemotionally. Whereas in a daily, day-to-day life, we become quite emotional, conditioned by our upbringing, conditioned by the time we spent, our friends, our colleagues, our environments. Our whole ecosystem in some way conditions us. So there is a lot of emotions involved. Science is that way quite devoid of emotion. It follows certain rigid rules. And those rigid rules, in a way, makes it that much powerful, that much successful, right? So, that's why science is that way. So science is actually a way of thinking. It's a way of living. It's not a body of knowledge. It's that way of thinking that gives you a body of knowledge. By the way, that body of knowledge keeps changing, but the way of thinking does not change. So it's very important to remember science is that way of thinking. So first, you should be very clear that parenting is not an active role. Second, you should be very clear science is how you think, not what you know. And then the third equally important thing is that you need to understand this thing is there is certain way a scientist think. And those things, those qualities is what a child is born with. The whole process of becoming an adult is actually losing those qualities, not strengthening those qualities, because those adults who are able to strengthen those qualities growing up for whatever lucky reasons in their life end up literally changing the course of history. So if you go and look back into the history of some of the big scientists who are really path-breaking theories, you'll find the childhood nothing spectacular. The good part about the childhood probably was no one was involved in them. They were thought to be probably and not good enough children to be guided, or they were thought to be average learners or dumb learners, that kind of thing. So people actually took a step back because they thought it's not worth enough involving time with them. Right? So these are the three important things that I think each one of you should remember. Parenting is not an active involvement. It is sort of a passive role. Science is not, a body of knowledge, but a way of thinking. And children are the best scientists. Now, keeping these principles alive, let's take the discussion forward. I think it's only 1 minute left now. So maybe all of us can just log off and join back in.
Yes, we can reconnect so that we can start.
Remain a logical point we can start with.
Yeah.
Okay.